Hey guys, welcome back to another Crossout sort of talk description video. I don't know what I'm going to be doing, to be honest. Yeah, so anyway, this is going to be a little conversation on the most recent update. Now, as you might have seen, there are a lot of big changes that have just happened. Most sort of importantly, a video I made a couple of weeks ago on the best parts in the game. Are some of them still good, some of them completely mid, to be honest, for what they're worth. And yeah, all the Dura of the builds has gone down in the entire game. So for instance, my Punny Nova that was 6.9k is now 5.6. All the best parts are still, some of them quite good, have now been nerfed as the sort of Dura specific to the cabin. So yeah, all parts for all builds has been nerfed. Now, that does a couple of things. It nerfs heavy builds, and it nerfs light builds, but what it doesn't change is the damage output of all the weapons in the game. So, with heavy builds getting a nerf, and the lighter builds getting a nerf, there is a slight difference. That you can still run a light build around 3k, and heavier stuff is going to be now in between 5 and 7. Pushing it beyond 7 is a big ask. Even some of my heaviest like ML stuff is now like 6.8, and that was maxed out, like completely maxed out. Maybe you can grab 7k, but I don't know. It's a big ask is what I'm trying to conclude to. What will the meta be? What do so they started to talk about in the patch notes about the nerf of the Myriads, which is a big one. Losing 200 tonnage, losing the acceleration, I don't really notice that so much, but the tonnage is a big one. Also losing the perk, like heal speed from 7 to 10 seconds is a big change to the Myriads. It was actually a comp that we would run 4 Myriads, pretty much, and maybe a Young Wang or a Bug or something, versus every single team except Blame and Scout, pretty much. And Rush sometimes as well, but bar that, it was always just Myriad. So the best part, and honestly the part I enjoyed the most, has been nerfed. The issue now is that versus a Punisher car, it's going to get cabbed. Like, it's going to die because it's cabin HP. Fuck off, Wade. It's going to get it's going to die very quickly now. As you can see, it's now down to 5.6, so it will not have that much Dura, whereas the Punny car, although it has lost a bit of Dura, it was on like 3.4, I think, and now it's down to 2.7. I still think this is going to beat the crap out of them, solely because the damage of these sort of weapons has not really been nerfed. Like the Punny nerf is so minor, the Nemi nerf is, and our adjustment is so minor. I think that the cars and sort of faster builds is where it's going, because, for instance, builds like this, giant sort of Punisher MLs have gone down from 8,100 to 6,800, meaning that builds that are quite fast and already deal a lot of damage as they already do, things like this Punny car are going to shred the HP of those cars more so than they ever did, because these builds a lot of time what they do is they go into your team, they cloak up, they unrelease cloaks and get reset, they start shooting. For instance, ML is this, it turns, you Aegis, you get your damage off, whatever, you leave. You know, and you've not really suffered for it. So I think if anything, this is the dawn of some of the faster builds in the game coming back, which I don't think is a bad thing. I just think it's an interesting change. I was talking to someone yesterday about the idea that, oh, hovers might be good or bad. I think with the new torpedoes, which I don't think are going to be meta at all, but I think are quite fun, you might be able to see some other builds. As well as other updates, something I'm really looking forward to is the introduction of this map again. So this used to be a Clan Wars map that actually I enjoyed quite a lot. And when they removed it, I didn't really understand why. I think the issue was that people would spawn here on Spider, they'd walk to the middle cap, they'd sit, and that was the game. From what I'm aware, I don't know if this is true, apparently that the central point of the map has been moved. So your new cap point, I'm not sure now, is somewhere else that isn't just here, I think. maybe I've read that wrong, but I'm pretty sure there's something along the lines of the cap point on the map is no longer this middle bit, but actually somewhere else, which would be great. If that's true, then fantastic. Otherwise, it's just going to be a spider map. But yeah, I think this map coming back into rotation is fantastic. Another one they're putting in is the Wolf Outpost. Now, this is a PvP map. I have not really played that much of it, to be honest. But again, it's a bigger map. It has basically one exit, one entrance on both sides. Again, for players who want to kite down or up or wherever they want to go, this seems like a really good idea for a map to put in the Clan Wars, to be honest. So I'm actually quite excited for this one. Again, I think it's a great change. Cradle of Mind is a BFU map that I think we all might remember quite well. Not a map I'm too excited for, but I understand why they've put it sort of in the rotation, because it's just not really been used. But my issue with it is it's so congested, and this map for cars can be a bit difficult because you have loads of high points, a lot of random jumps around here. You've got the cliffs at the back up here, obviously the two spawns, and then the central point where you get good height to shoot on the cap that I believe is over here. Wade, can you fuck off? Jesus Christ. But yeah, and there's one more map which they put in, which I am quite excited for. They put back in Factory map. This is the Acid Lake map. They removed this from rotation a while ago, but I think it's quite a nice map for Clan Wars. Again, all these maps, if you notice, are quite big, or at least they have a lot of open spaces at points, bar that previous Wolf Outpost one. Again, I think because of the torpedo, they want to make it look good, so these sort of maps are going to benefit it quite a lot. Big open spaces, big places to make mistakes, drive off cliffs, all that sort of stuff. But I actually thought this map was pretty decent in Clan Wars, just because you had, again, same as the other maps, right? You got big high-low points, long distance stuff. You can take the two hills on either side. On Spider, the caps are on the opposite end of the map, so you can't just walk all the way across. Cars have all these different ways to get around the map, bugs, you name it. I think it's a great map. Very, very diverse. You can fire a lot of different points on it. But yeah, very exciting change. Just going to make this a nice little 10 seconds. The nerf/change has done nothing on the damage board. It still does 9k or 7k, like whatever the number was. It's honestly, the only difference that the slight nerf will make is that when a car comes in to shoot a big punny vehicle, the punny vehicle won't get as much damage off because it won't achieve perk maybe as fast as usual, but it's just such a small change. It's not big enough. The only difference it'll make is on heavy versus heavy builds. So yeah, it's nice. Doesn't really fix the build. I think the previous update with the reload change is fantastic. Devo's in a great place, so not really much to say about this, but yeah, it's nice. Propaganda I feel really bad for, because it's sort of like, you know, the Breaker has just received 1 billion buffs, which I'll go into after this, but yeah, the Yorm changes, they buff the damage, the initial pellet damage, all this stuff, and it still sucks. The issue is always, always has been the range, and if anything, the damage buff to 41% instead of the 26 that they've given it, or 21, I can't remember now. But the amount they've put it on is still not enough. This weapon needs buffs. It is unpopular, you can tell, because that is the market, at least on PS for it. I mean, come on, 3? Anyway, changes are fantastic. I think this is the potential to have breakers back in the game. That is a big enough buff. I think they still need a bit of projectile buffing, to be honest. But for those who have the right fusions, it makes zero difference to them. At the end of the day, breakers have got buffed in so many different ways, whether it be the energy, the perk damage, perk range, optimum, all that stuff that they've been slowly doing, and now recently this sort of big buff to the breakers. I think this is their time. I don't think they'll be very, very top meta, but I think they'll be damn right up there. Break Ray just seems like the smart play to me. On which vehicle? It could be the new Torpedo, however the Dur on those things is pretty horrendous. I think it's more likely Breaker cars will definitely come back. So the new weapon they released in this battle pass, I've tested it. It is so mid. I like the perk, I think it's cool. I think the change into the grenade launcher mode is fine. It just needs more damage for a legendary. There are just way too many good legendaries in the game. Even in BFU, this will not be the meta, I don't believe. It lacks a real punch when you swap perk. I don't feel like you get rewarded. If anything, I prefer the delayed machine gun mode than I would just the retro mode. So yeah, it's good, it's cool, it's really different, but I think you should get more reward for getting the perk on this. But yeah, I actually enjoyed the shredder when testing it. I just think it hasn't really got a place right now. I think in BFU there's ways you could use this and it'd be actually quite good. But other than BFU, I really don't see the shredder being a viable item. I'm sure I'm going to make a low power score build on this and it's going to be absolutely broken and I'll eat my words, but for now it just seems fine. Doesn't seem amazing, just seems fine. Someone who was recently just about to get 4 of these things to fuse for the Christmas event because I enjoy this weapon, I think it's very satisfying. The buffs to the Destroyer are fantastic. I am very, very happy to see this, and alongside with the absolute cabin changes and obviously the new introduction of the Catalina legendary, the Dolores, this weapon is awesome. It's not going to be meta, it's not going to be the top of the game, but it is going to be a lot of fun. Destroyers are now playable. I wouldn't say before that they were, whereas now they feel like, you know, the projectile is the main thing wrong with them before. Now they feel like, you know, you're actually going to hit your targets more easily. What is Wade today? Fuck off. But yeah, I do feel like the Destroyers are in a good place. I think try them out in Clan Wars. They shouldn't be weak, they should just be okay. Be wary of punny and breaker comps, but otherwise than that, it's a lot of fun, and I'm probably going to do a video about it later on this week because I really enjoyed this change. So yeah. So I have just tested this in my garage. It's good actually. The Helios is not bad. Considering that the cabin of all things in the game has just gone down drastically, the Helios actually isn't that bad. I think it has the same issue that it's always had of it's going to get stripped pretty much most of the time. However, I think there is a world in which, in a lower power score, this is going to be completely disgusting, just because everything has such low cab now, even when using the best parts, that actually the Helios is going to be great. So I think this is one to watch. I'm not sure where the Helios will land in the meta right now, but definitely something to watch. Feels like it's going to be a lot better than it was, but not quite ever really truly in the meta. And the Nemesis. So the changes are quite cool. They nerfed the damage 10 and up the Dura about 120. I think this is a pretty interesting change. I think the Nemis already had pretty good damage, so I don't think 10% is going to, you know, change it that much. I believe it does about 2600 full perk, everything hurts and all that. So losing only 200 damage for an extra 120 per gun, I think is actually not that bad of a trade to keep your Nemis on for longer. I think this is a good change to balance them, just to give them a bit more Dura, because obviously, you know, they're meant to be the relic version of the Helios, and before they had basically the same Dura. So, yeah, I'm glad they've done this. I don't think it'll push Nemis, like, sort of better or lower. I think this is just a nice adjustment. I think on car, this will be really, really nice now, just for that extra Dura per gun, and not having any mass changes for this Dura as well, like they haven't upped the mass for it, so it's kind of just a net buff to the Dura of the Nemi cars, you know, to keep their weapons. So Nemesis, I think, is going to be a lot stronger. I think the damage nerf is just an adjustment to balance that Dura gain. So yeah, one to watch. But again, I still think a Breaker with the changes beats the Nemi. I really do. I think even a punny, I think the Breaker has a chance. But definitely the Nemi, I think the Breaker can still cause issues for. So this is one of those like the Helios. It's one to watch. It should be better in my opinion, regardless of the damage nerf. But yeah, we'll just have to see. The only weapon in the Battle Pass I think is genuinely fantastic. The Corax is awesome. It works exactly the same as the Varan. It's just stronger and better. I really enjoy this weapon. I think it's going to be an absolute beast in low power score. It's basically, it feels like an assembler but stronger in every single way. If you guys are going to craft any of the legendaries from this Battle Pass, I would highly suggest the Corax. It feels good, does a lot of damage, it's very rewarding for high, sort of good aim, and yeah, it's consistent, it's got good Dura, there's not really anything bad about it. I would, if you have, at the end of this Battle Pass, any of the, what are they called? Whatever the resources to craft things. Yeah, get 2 of these, you're not going to regret it. They are brilliant, and I think they'll be a lot of fun. I'm definitely going to be making a video on this. Narwhal. So these are awesome. They got a 25% damage increase on their perk that they already had. So when you cryo things, before it was just doing 100% damage, so now it has basically just more. And explosion and stuff of that has been increased as well. Narwhal was already good. I think now it's going to be strong. I don't think quite the very, very top of the game, but I think having that extra damage bonus with something that's cryoed is interesting. Again, something to watch out for. I have a couple ideas for how you could use this. I think going back to the old grind and Narwhal stuff, like previous metas where people would just go Typhoon and Narwhal and just frame everything, is completely possible, to be honest. That was good then. I don't think it would be bad now. And having extra 25% damage on max stack of these things with the cryo, I mean, again, it was already a strong weapon. There was never, the Narwhal's never really been weak. So, yeah, I think watch out for the Narwhal. I think there are builds like Narwhal Nova Hovers, and the Grinder Narwhals that actually are going to be really, really strong in this meta. So, yeah, definitely keep your eyes out. I've used them a long time, but it's a really interesting change. So they've taken off 700 mass from the Porks, which is brilliant, to be honest, because the Pork have always struggled with Dura anyway. And considering that they've nerfed all the durability of all the parts, actually the Pork having about 900 Dura back, mass back, is brilliant. It means these Pork covers aren't going to be completely lightweight, and I actually think that's probably the main reason they've done this, to be honest. Just to sort of balance out, Wade, I'm going to kill you. Yeah, so they changed it from 750 or something to this 440, so, well, I think it was 720 actually, but anyway, for those of people like me who have fuse porks as well, and I know actually a lot of players in the game do have fuse porks, this is an awesome change, much needed. And porks are actually played right now, like they're good, there's nothing weak about them. I've used them in Clan Wars, like they're perfectly playable, perfectly strong. They're not hyper meta, but they are definitely off picks. And I think in the new sort of dawn of all these new parts and the new stuff, I think the porks will be very, very fun and actually do quite well. So, I don't think it's going to be hyper meta, but something to watch out for. I think the pork builds are going to be way better now with all that mass saved. So, yeah. That's going to be cool. Dolores. So what they've done is, guys, they've said, you paid all this money to fuse your Catalina. We released a legendary version that's exactly the same as the original, but you get a bonus 15% perk in between the salvos. Cool. So this is Catalina, but better than that ever was, basically. Buffed in every single sort of way. It's also got one more point of energy than the Catalina. It has better stats on basic sort of mass and tonnage and stuff like that. It's just better in every way in the exact same thing. I have nothing more to say than it is a Catalina that is better. You've all played Catalina before. This will be meta. This will be played in every single part of the game. This is a defining part of why people, they make battle passes, why people buy them, because they just keep releasing things that are going to change the game, and this is another one of those. So yeah, Dolores cabin, 100% going to be meta. I've already got builds that I'm making now on this cabin. So yeah, if you're not going to get the battle pass for any other reason, get it for this. I don't think this will ever not really be strong as long as it stays Absolute away. Was actually something I said in the video when I was talking about this cabin on release, that I think they should have made the perk be a consistent thing, that it should just be like a percentage instead of it being 40% blast radius increase. They should have like a set stat and then the bonus. And I don't think any dev watches my videos, but if they did, awesome. This is a fantastic change. So they put it as a set stat, right? They took the perk down from 40 to 30%, and then they gave it a base 20%, which is fantastic. Like, that's perfect for something that's meant to be a better version of the Harpy. I think meant to be a better version of the Harpy. This is completely fantastic. Like, this is exactly what you want. This is good for anything with explosion. It's still got great stats, good speed. Again, another point of energy above all the medium cabs that are purple, of course. And the only awkward thing is, obviously, it's like a pancake, right? Like, building with this thing is so weird because everything has to be so low. But yeah, I love this change. It's brilliant. I don't think Absolute's going to be quite strong enough yet. It needs, the perk honestly needs to go back to 40% maybe, and then have the base 20, and just see where that is, because I think right now this is good. It could be great, but we'll just have to see. I mean, I love the Absolute, so I can't really say much. But yeah, great change. Very happy with this. Hope it is very, very strong. Especially my Destroyers. Zuna is changes that I don't really understand. The speed changes and the power nerfs, I don't get it. I didn't really feel like the Yokozuna was that strong anyway. The nerf comes out of nowhere for me. Only one of my clanmates have ever really used it, to be honest. I've tried it on different sort of fun builds, but never really thought it was like insanely good. I always thought it was like a very consistent cab, helpful for the team. But yeah, don't understand the changes. I think the Yokozuna was in a good place where it wasn't broken, but it was strong. Yeah, I think they're pushing the cab in the wrong direction, but yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. Starter special module. I have tested this a bit with Masty, with the Kaijus, with all these other things. It's fine, it's okay. This 20% needs to be at least 30% for it to be usable on other things that isn't just Kaiju. On the Mastodon, it is helpful because it ups your DPS, right? Your straight damage per second is completely buffed, but it's not that noticeable. On stuff like Kaiju and other things, it is very much noticeable. So, again, yeah, but no. I think also 2 energy is a big ask. To sacrifice a Verifier or a Doppler or a Cloak for this, for your DPS, is interesting. I think a lot of people would just go Jackie instead of having this, but, you know, or they go a different part, whatever. I don't know. Maybe there are things that I'm not aware of that would be really good on this item, but for now, I think it's a great module to finally release. This is a module that people have asked for a long time, so I'm glad they released it, so I won't say anything bad about it yet. But yeah, 2 energy for this. If it was 1, I think completely great. Like, that's just a straight DPS buff on it. You know, 1 energy. That's brilliant, right? On weapons that also aren't that strong right now. So yeah, I think it's good, but I think the energy needs to go down to 1 to make this 20% even like a thought. You know, I don't see much about this. The Verifier was already good, but people were using the Oculus instead. Now having basically everything buffed on it, whether it be the range, whether it be whatever, I'm just happy with this change. I'm glad they buffed the Verifier to make it better than the Oculus. I'm glad it, you know, decloaks a bit faster, basically because of the changes. As a result, hopefully you should catch people out who are trying to decloak, you know, further away. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with this change. I already used the Verifier on a couple of my builds, so yeah. Death to the Oculus, Viva Verifier, yeah. This is the sort of star of the update, the torpedoes. I love this movement part. I think it's really hard to use though. I think all the maps in Clan Wars that they've put in is solely for this thing to do well. I don't know if it will. The durability at 440, even with the fuse at 500, is still so low. It needs a Dura buff for this size. I mean, it's humongous. It's like a half-size meat grinder. It's massive. Yeah, I love the part. I think it's a cool idea. It just needs Dura to be up, and then I think it's usable. Saying that, I'm going to be completely proved wrong, and I'll see a billion breaker builds with it, so, or punny curls with it, so, you know. Whatever, but yeah, I think it's, we'll see. I think it's going to be good, but I don't think it's going to be like hyper meta. I think someone's going to come out with a build that's OP, and then everyone's going to jump on the bandwagon, as I always do and everyone else does. So yeah, we'll see how this one goes, but I don't think it's going to be insane. This is actually a movement part I am so thankful that they've buffed, because I actually left the game when Greeders released, and I came back right at the tail end of it, and they nerfed the Greeders to the ground. And now, after a year and a half of the nerfs, the Greeder has finally reached back to its original point, its 490 Dura starting point. I'm very glad they've done this. I appreciate that buff, and I also appreciate the RAM changes and the resistance to melee and the damage pass-through being increased as well. Again, this can only be a positive. If you do, like, you know, in your head what basic maths would be, if it lets 35% of the damage pass through itself and it's 500 Dura, you'd think that about 150 would pass through. So again, so you're thinking the build, the legs are about 650 Dura-ish for certain parts, right? I think it's brilliant. I think it's awesome. I think the Greeders getting buffed is great. I think they're just doing this to move people off Myriads for a bit, and then they'll buff those back, and you know, the swap will happen. But I think at least for a lot of people, this will be the new leg of choice. If you were on Myriads before, and you've noticed basically the Dura just nerfs being so massive, Greeder might be one for you to think about. The only issue with the Greeder is you get pushed around a lot. So against bugs, against Young Wang, the Greeder does really bad because it has no traction. So it's something to keep in mind. But bar that, buffs are great. I'm glad it got its Dura back, and I'm glad it has basically extra resistances to well, dogs, right? The things that are killing these things, really. Yeah, happy with this a lot. So watch out for Greeter, it might be the new thing. We'll have to see. Legs doing really well. Oh, the Myriad. I love the Myriad. They nerfed it, took away 200 tonnage, they took away the perk. Now it's on like from 7 to 10 seconds to recover the leg Dura, so you'll get over tonnage for longer. And they nerfed the acceleration by 10%. Yeah, it's just a sad day. I love the Myriads. I don't think I'll be using them much in future. The nerf to me is quite substantial. I think it affects a lot of the builds. It takes them down from about 7k on most of them to about 5.6 again, so same issues as a lot of the other builds. Yeah, I still think they're good. I still think they're strong. I just think we struggled to find any other sort of Myriad build that isn't just on a cohort now. I mean, the Mars you can't really use anymore, which is a shame because the Mars Myriad sort of builds are all my idea. On like the first day they released, I built that build. I was so proud of it. I was so happy. I thought it was awesome. I saw loads of people using the build, and I was like, that's sick. Like, I'm glad people like that sort of stuff. And yeah, now they nerfed it. So we'll have to see if this stays, but I just don't see it staying around. Yeah, I don't know. I'll see how it goes this weekend with these things, but to me, yeah, my poor Myriads. Yeah. About the torpedoes, people are saying that, like on their own they're bad. I don't think they are necessarily bad. I think they're pretty decent. The issue people on the movement part was the strafing. Now, if you use the Omni wheel or the Atom wheels, either of these work, you'll notice you can strafe. So the devs on the stream saying like, this is nothing like anything else. This is a completely unique movement part. Nothing else can be compatible with it. Yes, no, they're completely fucking wrong. You put on a Omni wheel and it strafes. Yeah, I know. They didn't really think about this one. That you could just put them on as like armor pieces on an Omni build, if you wanted to, and it makes the build feel a lot better. And you can strafe and do all sorts. So I don't know. Not sure what they were thinking with this. I don't know if they actually looked at this before. I assume they did, but yeah, it strafes perfectly well with the Omni wheel or Atoms. So yeah, I don't know. Interaction, I should say, is that you can use them on Bigfoots, and it does this dip at the start. But yeah, then you just on a Bigfoot, and you have the resistance thing. So I don't know. Yeah. The only thing is, of course, is you don't really get the perk because it starts after 80 or something. What's the perk on it? It starts after 80, yeah. So you'd have to get something. For instance, if I go on it's a really fast cabin, a Griffin, right? So on a Griffin, I go 100, right? Now it should pop up. Do I get the perk? Yes, I do. So you can go on a car build, right? You can pawn Bigfoots or something like this. And you're getting, of that 35% resistance, you're probably getting what, 20 something? 25, I would have thought. So you can just do like a wheel build with moving parts that like drive on the floor, and you're instantly buffing your build. Like, completely buffing your build with the new moving part. So this is another sort of busted mechanic for you. So this is your standard meat grinder, yeah? So it's quite big, it's quite heavy, turns okay, right? So when we go into our garage and we put on 2 torpedoes on a meat grinder build, yeah. Yeah, so it turns insanely well. You're welcome, I guess. Yeah, so what is this? So this is why I thought meat grinders might be meta. Yeah, this is ridiculous. If you're on a meat grinder and you're sort of doing your thing, right? You have a build come behind you. Yeah, you can just do that. Shoot him and you're back into the fight. So yeah, again, I think the devs have decided not to test the builds and the moving part interactions, and something like this, where you could, perhaps run Punny, Masty, Typhoon, Narwhal, all that stuff. You can now do a full 180 turn like that because a new movement part. Look at this. What is this? So if you're telling me this isn't going to be meta, then I don't know what is. Things like this is where you can see the devs have not really thought it through. So here's some crazy interactions, at least of the wheels and the meat grinders, which I think are the best with it, and how it makes the build move. So there you go. About today, the dumb interactions with the torpedo and some of the changes that are more impactful to meta. So yeah, have a good rest of your day, guys, and I will be making some low bar score sort of builds this week and this weekend, sorry, for you guys to use with some of the new weapons and some stuff that I've been sort of testing. So yeah, I look forward to those, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. So see ya.